Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Nate Anime and welcome back to my channel. Today I am on the crew Motorfest technically. So this is actually a pre-recorded video. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the footage I wanted out of this game. I did enjoy the game very much, but unfortunately I didn't get all the footage that I wanted out of this game. I was very short on time, so I did do some pre-recorded video with no commentary. This is some of the video that you're seeing right now. In today's video, we'll be going over the all-new PvP mode in the game called the Grand Tour. It's a really cool game mode. There's also another game mode too, which unfortunately I didn't get footage of that, but I have seen videos of it. But yeah, that game mode is actually called Demolition Royale, and if the name sounds right, yes, it is like a battle royale with demolition derby vehicles. Essentially it's kind of set up like Fortnite, really. You drop from the sky. In this case, you fly planes to the area, then you drop from the sky in your demolition derby vehicles. These are the same vehicles from the Crew 2. And just go all out. I think you have to like collect a certain amount of parts and things like that to win, and also crash out other people. Really cool game mode. Too bad I did not get to play it, but it looks very promising. So like I said a little bit earlier, I did actually run very low on time for recording some more gameplay of this game, so I decided to do the PvP modes, which I have not tried, and I decided to choose the Grand Race. So the Grand Race is actually a pretty cool game mode. Very chaotic, very crazy. You get to switch between 3 vehicle classes in each race. I think you can even do 4 or 5 depending on the race and depending on the rotation of the PvP races, which they do actually rotate. Like right now I'm in some type of like playlist that start off with supercars, then transition you to another class of vehicle. In this case it was the track cars, and then it transitioned me to the last class of vehicle, which was the perf vehicles. So it is a very interesting thing. I've never experienced anything like this. I know they used to do something like this in 5M on GTA 5, but as far as I knew, that was like a 5M thing on GTA 5. I mean, I'm pretty sure some other games have done this too, but I don't think they've done this to a scale like this. I mean, there's 28 players in this session. It is wild. Which also want to point out, in the like demolition derby PvP game mode, there's actually 32 or 31 players in that, so you actually get like a little bit more players in the demolition derby Fortnite-ish battle royale mode. But in this mode you only get 28, which is kind of strange. I don't know why. I mean, the races are pretty chaotic. I do enjoy the races, despite the way I'm driving in the footage, which also I have to point out, when you're driving a vehicle stock in this game, it sucks. So like, if you want to take a plain stock vehicle with no performance upgrades whatsoever into like a race or something like that, prepare to have some challenges. I had a lot of challenging races because I didn't actually notice. So you actually have to like upgrade the car. Now it doesn't matter which part of the car that you upgrade, as long as you just put like one performance part on the car, you're fine. But if you're driving the car like straight up stock, you're going to be having the difficulty I was having in this little clip right here of me trying to drive this McLaren to the end of the race, which I did end up closing out of this particular race. I started up a new race, which will be shown in the next clip coming up. But I was just having so much difficulty keeping this car on the road, and that's when I realized I did not have any performance parts on this vehicle, which is why I was having such a difficult time. Now you did see right there how this transitioned me to a new vehicle. That's how this race is. Now, even though I didn't get to particularly experience this, apparently there are also playlists that allow you to switch from car to boat to plane, and etc. Which, if you didn't know, also these grand races actually have playlists. Same thing goes, I think, for the demolition derbies as well. But the grand races, they do have playlists, and they do switch up, each playlist. I think I would say every 30 minutes, to maybe 20 minutes, probably. But yeah, I do like how it just mixes up the playlist every 30 to 20 minutes, keeps things fresh. So here I am at the startup page for the Grand Race PvP mode. The game allows you to actually select any car you want for the Grand Race. Unfortunately, I did actually run out of time to actually pick the cars I wanted, and I ended up getting thrown in for the last car, a Camaro. So unfortunately I didn't get the car I wanted for the last part of the race. But yeah, it does actually allow you to choose whatever vehicle you want to use in the Grand Race. It doesn't just throw you into any random vehicle that you have in your playlist. So you can actually choose what type of vehicle you want no matter what. And again, I think that goes for boats and planes as well. So like I said, this PvP mode gets a little bit chaotic when it comes to the racing mode. It's just absolutely insane. There's a lot of bumping, there's a lot of hitting. I mean, it's an online racing game, but this is an online racing game with a lot of bumping, a lot of hitting, of 28 players. I guess I would say 27 since you're the 28th person, so you're going up against 27 players to get the #1 spot. It's wild. One thing I did not like about the Crew 2 when it came to its PvP mode was the fact that you were ghosted for majority of the race. Well, in the Crew Motorfest, they fixed that. You're bumping and hitting, you're getting the whole experience right there. So yeah, there is no ghosting or none of that stupid crap. You get to hit the other player as much as you want to, and sometimes you do actually hit them without even trying to, especially in this mode right here where I was actually placed into a hypercar, and it's a vehicle I didn't really have too much time to practice with when it came to the physics, because again, the physics on this game are very new, they're very different from the Crew 2, so I didn't really get that much time to actually feel the physics for the hypercars. And on top of that, it is a hypercar, so I do spend less of my time in vehicles like this, and that just goes for every game. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'm just not a big fan of hypercars, so I just don't really interact with hypercars that much in racing games. It's just a me thing. It's not like a video game thing or anything like that. It's just I just not really interested in hypercars, nor seeing hypercars or even driving them. I like regular everyday cars that you can tune up and stuff like that. I like those type of cars. Obviously I like JDM cars and muscle cars and stuff like that, but hypercars just don't get me going personally. It's just a personal opinion, just a personal thing. But yeah, it's really cool how this game mode is. Now really, this whole entire game mode kind of takes advantage of the entire map. So, I mean, even though I don't know if I'm actually driving from one end to the other in this particular race, but it does feel like it's utilizing a big chunk of the map, because I do know that the map does feel very small from time to time. I mean, personally, it doesn't really bother me that much. I know everybody's very hung up on the old map, the big giant USA map, and I understand that. Everybody was expecting, a map, somewhat the same size and just as explorable, which this map is very explorable, no doubt. There's a lot of things that even I didn't even get to cover, believe it or not, because I'm actually looking at videos on YouTube of areas that I didn't even visit, nor didn't even know existed. And I'm just like, what? I thought I, saw the whole entire island, but apparently I didn't. So there's actually a lot of places to actually visit and see on this map. But yeah, it really does kind of use up the entire map, at least the Grand Race. I think the Demolition Derby only uses a certain place, a certain area. Again, similar to Fortnite, I think in Battle Royales, they're only put into like one area, and you just gotta do like a big giant battle and stuff like that right there in that particular area. Where the grand race seems to like take you like from one end to the map to the other, and then I guess it gets a little bit mixed up when you get into the boats and the planes and stuff. So yeah, it is really interesting. So I mean, it is a pretty good game mode. I don't dislike it. I think it's good. I really do think it's good. I just hope they add more game modes, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the grand race PvP mode with like the 28 players, but it would be nice to even just settle down to like a PvP mode where you can like race like 8 players or something like that, very similar to the Crew 2. I mean, I don't mind racing with 28 players, but like I did say before, it does get a little bit chaotic to the point that it kind of gets a little bit hard to race. I mean, like I said, I don't dislike it like that much at all, but it can start to get a little bit repetitive, especially if you're one of those type of people who always comes at like dead last. Like if you're coming at the end and you're constantly doing this game mode, it's not going to be a fun day for you. You're probably going to end up getting very upset. So yeah, that's one thing I am a little bit worried about, that you might end up getting a little bit frustrated with this game mode. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty solid game mode. It's a pretty solid game mode. So as you see right here in the footage, this is where I actually get put into a vehicle I wasn't actually trying to pick, but unfortunately I ran out of time. Which again, this car is not too bad. It's not a bad car. It is a muscle car. This is a car that I transferred from the Crew 2. I think you guys actually saw this car in the last video I did when I was actually drifting this vehicle, and I took all the like driving assist off. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have that much experience with this vehicle, so yeah, that was a bit of a problem for me when it came to this game mode. And it is a bit on the slower side. It is a muscle car. It tends to drive and perform like a little bit worse than most vehicles in games. It always seems to be the muscle cars. I never understand that. You got the JDM vehicles, you got the hypercars, they all seem to drive fine, even the off-roading vehicles. But when it comes to the muscle cars, it's like the handling's just never that great, and because of that, I just never spend any time in muscle cars as much as I could be spending time in a muscle car. So it does kind of suck. So I did actually fast forward the video just a little bit, so we wouldn't have to see too much of the race. It was about to end anyway. I came in like 12th place, not too bad though. I think I would have came at least in the top 10, or I think I would have stayed in the top 10, because I think I was in the top 10 until we switched out of the muscle car. I think I would have stayed in the top 10 if I had access to one of the cars I actually wanted to pick, instead of being forced into a vehicle I didn't want because I ran out of time. But yeah, it is what it is. Alright, but moving on to another clip of me doing another grand race, this time in the Corvette C7 ZR1, a vehicle I actually did choose. Really nice vehicle, by the way. I think they have this in the Crew 2 as well. You got it for free, or at least I got it for free, I think, for their little anniversary or something like that. I don't know, but a really nice car to drive. Even in the Motorfest, it was really a nice car to drive. Now, one thing I do just want to point out, and I was just mesmerized. I don't know if anybody else was, but I was just absolutely stunned at the graphics of this game. Now, I did hear there was actually a problem on the PC version. I didn't actually know about that. Obviously, I'm on PS5. I didn't hear much about that until after the beta was actually closed, and I started looking at PC footage, and it was like, it wasn't looking too good. Like, frames were dropping. It was just a mess. It was just an absolute mess. And I'm actually very happy I didn't decide to do or play the game on my PC, because it would have been an absolute mess as well, and my PC doesn't run as good as others. So yeah, I don't think it would have been a really good idea for me to have played this beta on my PC, and I'm very happy I chose to play this on my PS5. But honestly though, when it came to the graphics, I'm just stunned, honestly. Like, I don't know. I mean, the graphics to me, they look probably the best I've seen in a long time in a racing game. They're not photorealistic, but they look just good enough to be just, you know, memorizing, you know. Like, it just looks really good. It looks really, really, really good. Like, it's not Forza Horizon, you know, like photorealistic. I would say this is actually slightly better. Actually, no, I would say this is way better than Need for Speed Unbound. The graphics in Need for Speed Unbound are questionable. I mean, they're not bad, but you know, I think this definitely beats Need for Speed Unbound, because a lot of Need for Speed Unbound is just, you know, stuff carried over from older Need for Speed games and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I think the graphics look good. I think the graphics look real good. So yeah, I don't really have much more to comment on the Grand Race. It's enjoyable. I like it. Personally, I think this will be a really good PvP mode, especially when the game comes out. So yeah, like I said though, I don't really have much to say. I'll catch up with you guys towards the end of the video and let you enjoy the rest of this gameplay. yeah, I did actually DNF at the end of that race, unfortunately, but I mean, I have to admit, I did actually drive a little bit better in that race than I did in the last 2 races, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, anyways, I do actually have just a little bit more content to share with you guys on the Crew Motorfest, and I think I should be done on these Crew Motorfest beta videos. But yeah, hopefully you guys stay around for that. But yeah, that's all I have to share with you guys in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and I hope to see you guys in my next one.